Okay. So about my work experience and a brief about my academic background. So I did my bachelor's from Jadavpur University, and I graduated from the same university back in 2019. Post that, I was working as an associate consultant in Capgemini for 2 years. And thereafter, I joined SAP as a quality specialist. And there I've been working for, I'm still working now, so it's close to 3 years that I've been working with SAP. And primarily, my work relates to software testing for the Fiori Elements framework, which is the framework utilized by application developers to build SAP S/4HANA ERP applications. So I've been primarily associated with that team, testing all the software and running through that. So I'm presently working as a software testing lead at SAP for the SAP Fiori Elements audit of V2 framework. So after the application process ended, I was quite confident that I will be selected for the interview process. So I started preparing for the interview right after I submitted the application. I did not wait for an intimation from the college. I started off with my preparation. I started preparing answers. I started going through YouTube videos and then some Quora videos, what were the previous year questions, and I started preparing the answers and everything. Then I got an intimation from the college that I was selected for the interview. I actually decided to take help because this was my prime target. So I decided to take help from Preppie, and Preppie helped me a lot. I got the reference from Preppie from my college senior who was also helping me with my application process and application essays. So I decided to take help, and I would say Preppy, helped me structure my answers, at the first time. So my mentor was who was an ISB pass out. So he used to call me. Even I did not used to call him. He used to call me and help me frame my answers. The most important takeaway from that process was to quantify my answers, because before that I was actually framing my answers, but those were not quantifiable. But he said that in a business world, you need to quantify your answers. So every answer that I used to write and then I used to rehearse later on, it used to be quantified. So that was an amazing takeaway. And then he also helped me to structure my answers and write before 3 or 4 days before the interview. He advised me one very important thing: this whatever you have prepared, just leave it now. You do not write any further answer, but whatever you have written, try to rehearse it, try to rehearse it more and more, so that the pitch or the delivery of your answer should be crisp. You should not be doing or during the answers, but you should be confident about your answers as well. So that was an amazing takeaway and experience which I had with people. So as I mentioned earlier that my interview was on Hotel Monarch Luxor. So I did one thing right before the interview. 7 days before the interview, I went to that place to actually visit the hotel, just to see where it is and to just to get a hang where my interview is going to be. So I do not get a surprise when I will be, or I do not lose my path or lose my track. Even you cannot always believe the Google Maps, right? So because this is once a lifetime opportunity. So I went there, I saw the hotel, I knew it, I took it in that this is where my interview is going to be. Before the interview, that's one thing that I do. I hardly get any sleep before the interview. So mostly I was awake. I remember, as far as I remember, I woke up around at 7 a.m. You know, got my get got my breakfast done, and then I had my dress already prepared the other night. So I had my shirt ironed, my blazer ironed, and I took a very professional attire. I wore my blazer, shirt, tie, and trousers. And I took all the documents also that was necessary for the document verification at the interview stage. Prior to the interview day, so I took notice of every document that I was putting in the bag, and I was making sure that I was not missing any, because during the interview I knew that I was going to be very nervous. So if I'm putting the documents during the day of the interview, that won't be a very plausible thing to do. So I did the other night, and that's how I prepared. And talking about the interview day and how was the atmosphere. So I went there and I found myself waiting for my turn. I believe, there were a batch of 20 people who were also waiting for their turn. We were put in a room, separate room, where uh, all the candidates were waiting for their turn. And there we got our documents also verified. And then there were two separate rooms where there were a panel of three professors each in both those rooms. And, we were called one by one. We were asked to, whenever there was, so one person entered, so the next person was waiting outside the room. So that's how we were called for the interview. I think, as far as I know, I was second in my queue for for one particular room. I think it was the B slot where I was second in my queue for the interview. Overall, the atmosphere, you know, in an interview atmosphere, it's always heavy. I won't say it was light, it was heavy. People were nervous and the people were preparing. But there was food available. I took a coffee, and people who, there was breakfast available for them as well. So overall, it was fantastic experience, I would say, because the interview was conducted very smoothly. There were no hiccups, and for me, it was an amazing experience. So the very first question that I faced was to give my introduction. So this is one question I think every MBA aspirant should prepare structurally and heavily, because this is one question where you set the tone of the interview. So I gave my introduction. I had prepared it very crisp and solid interview. I got all the points from Kshitij as well, which I incorporated in my answer. And it was a very quantifiable answer. It was very short, direct, and crisp. So I gave my introduction, because one another point that I would like to mention about the introduction question is not to drag the question too much, but to keep it short, so that you allow the interviewer to ask questions after that, because there most of the questions that you give right after your introduction will be from your introduction. So after that, I was asked about my alma mater, Jadavpur University. Some notable alumni from Jadavpur University, which are presently in picture. Then I was also asked about my work experience. Then, as I was also working as a customer support lead, I was asked a question on how I value people's productivity or efficiency. So I gave my answers that was related to my work experience. Um, s- Two of the questions were off from me, because I was asked about the, the refugee struggle that's happening in Bangladesh. So that was a bit off for me, but I had this prepared because I was a regular newspaper reader. So during, I think, September, there was some chaotic situations in Bangladesh before that. The government was turned up and the interim government took place. So there was some kind of a refugee struggle that was happening during that point of time. So I was asked this question. I gave my viewpoints on that because I had this prepared because I was a newspaper reader. The second question was quite anticipated. That was if I watch Bengali movies or not, or what are my viewpoints on Bengali movies, and to my viewpoint, what a good movie is to be. So I framed my answer as I could because I'm not a very avid Bengali movie watcher. So and depending on the situation, I could manage whatever I could, and I give them an answer. Every minute is like you just like after I gave the interview, I thought it's over by 10 minutes, but when I came out, people told me that you were in there for around 40 minutes. So it's difficult to quantify, but
Uh,
around 30 minutes, I would say. So I was given an opportunity to ask a question. So I asked them related to, because my short-term goal was going into product management. So I asked them questions catering to product management. What are the product management specific courses? Because product management is a vertical which has many horizontals. So what are the product management specific courses that I can expect at IIM Calcutta MBAEX program? So that's the question I asked. So my suggestion to future MBA aspirant is that you prepare your question prior, the question that you will be asking prior to your interview. And that question should be related to the college that you are applying to. So, and it is even better if you can associate that question with your future long-term or short-term goals and how the college can bridge your long-term and short-term goals. Um, with catering to that particular college that MBA program that college offers. So that's my take on the question that I asked. To be, you know, honest, I felt very confident after the interview happened because there was no question except for that Bengali movies question that I stumbled, or I, it went like a more or less it went like a breeze for me, and I was pretty much confident. I left the room on a high note. Okay. I think, one thing that I might want to add here is that I took help from Preppie a little bit later on. Uh, I took help because I think the interview intimation came 14 days prior to the actual interview date. So I took help around 10 days before the actual interview was scheduled. So for future aspirants, if you are really going to take help and you think that you need help and this is your main college, because at times when it's your main target, the college is your main target, you do not want to leave any stones unturned. So if you really want to go for the help, I suggest to you that you take the help earlier on. That will help you to structure your answers better, and it will rid you of any sort of unnecessary, nervousness just right before the interview. So that's one process or one part of the entire application process as well as the interview stage that I believe that I could have done better. I got the recommendation from Preppie from someone who has made it to ISB. So uh, that carries a reputation of Preppie, I would say. And I would definitely going forward want to recommend future MBA aspirants to take Preppie, primarily not only for their interview process, but also for their application process. Because I did not take the help from application process. I did it all by myself, which sometimes add to your pressure, and sometimes also you are sometimes some sort of a crossroad where you think that whether your application will get shortlisted or not. But at Preppy you get your profile analyzed very properly, and then you write the essays or the SOPs in a very structured way that is going to definitely help the future MBA aspirants going forward. And for the interview process, definitely with Preppy, as I had mentioned earlier, I had my answers structured in a more refined manner, in a more quantifiable manner. I did not know how to, actually prepare for an MBA interview before I actually took the help from Preeti. I got my answers quantified. I got my answers refined, structured. That helped me to crack this interview. So definitely, if you are someone who, for future MBA aspirants, if you're really serious about cracking one particular B school, I would definitely suggest you should go with Preeti. And with Preeti, you get access to seasoned MBA people, who have done their MBA from ISB and top B schools. So getting insights from them is the best thing that you would want before an interview.